Welcome to OWAD today. I'm Sophia, piloting to the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring ocean/industrial age concepts. And yesterday we were talking about simulate, 童话. And here, switching one character, 一画. It made into, in English, it's totally different. But in Chinese, when I learned 童话 and 一画, somehow they become antonyms. Very interesting, right? 一画, 一 means different. So if 童话 is to transform people, to convert everybody into this sameness, 一画 means to transform people into different sphere. All right. So 一画 is translation for alienate. And in contemporary English, alienate, you see the context here, alienate, friends, meaning you and your friends become drifting apart, no longer friend zone, like outer friend zoned each other. And that's what alienate for a little girl. But I guess for humans to a deeper level, it's not just alienate with your friends, drifting away from friends, but it's more alienate from yourself. Probably it involves, I guess, a human's sense of self identity, selfness, wholeness. 一化 means like you feel not yourself somehow. That's to me the second definition is a deeper sense of what alienate is about. And I guess, the biggest footnote for what this alienization process goes, how it felt is this Metamorphosis by Kafka, the novel of this guy metamorphosized into a moth, right? Supposedly a moth or a bug, something non-human. The whole story of this experience, of course, is a fiction, but it described this alienization process. It's you no longer feel like you. Not only like through internal feeling, like look into the mirror as a different you, also how others treat you. That is going to exacerbate what your self-identity feels. If it shifts dramatically, then it's going to feel like alienization. Alienization, okay. Well, since we're talking about a hua, which is human figure flipping into a different orientation. So Chinese by default orient toward the left. So left facing means left forwarding is the original traffic direction. I guess human, when we move forward, we like to symbolize it by this human figure facing left, meaning that's forward going. And then it rotate to upward facing. You see, it's almost the same structure as the human figure, with a little bit stylized, like this split of the front and the back side of the body. So in a way, it kind of exaggerate what this shifting, not only directional shifting, but shape-wise, it shifts a little bit too. Maybe not even a little bit. Like before I know the theory of what transform in Chinese are made of this one Chinese character flipping it to create a different orientation. And these two, I even couldn't put these two together because it does look very different. And maybe that's what transform is. After different orientations, something on you, something else on you that's going to be noticeably different. It's like hard to recognize it's the same person. Okay, that's transform. What is yi? Different. Okay, this different. I know in English probably, as a recent movement of DEI, diversity, right? Equity and what is I? What is I? Inclusiveness. Okay. So basically, it's treating everybody, regardless size, shape, nationality, your immigration process, like me, first generation, me, a woman, right? Me from Asia, like all that is not a mainstream. I'm not a majority, in no sense representing a majority, like a profile of what American would be. So kind of a treating people who look, speak, behave differently from the classical, American people look and feel, sound like, treat them with this inclusiveness. But this different. Because we have this DEI, we can almost deduce from the logic why there is such a movement. Because there was not, we cannot regard it as a given, or we cannot regard it almost like a natural human psychological tendency of treating people different from you with equal, or give them with equal assumptions, because we all live through stereotypes of, I guess, racial profiling is a common one, or gender profiling. However, people project what they see, what they think, imagine, or assume you would be based on so and so and so and so characters of you. So that's a common human tendency. That's the natural process. To counter that, there is such a DEI movement. And that testified to the risk and discomfort involved with being different. Being different is not easy. It's not a life easy. Being a minority, right? It's not easy unless you can flip the story, flip the narrative, like fully own your differentness. But here, this yi is expressed in Chinese. You can see simplified as traditional and 2,000 years ago. This time, simplified look more like the 2,000 years ago version versus this traditional Chinese got a little bit more complicated. But okay, the bottom part came from the same source, which is three finger hand symbol, both left hand and right hand, reaching out from the bottom of the screen, double-handed in there. And it's first-person perspective, so it's supposed to be your hand, the language user's hand. Your hand in there was on the top. On the top, two versions. The simplified Chinese and 2,000 years ago is a big spoon, so a ladle. So a ladle above the two hands, it's almost like you carefully spoon feeding somebody, right? That's one reading. Second, traditional Chinese, this two hand below this box with the number 10 in it. Well, we know that shape in Chinese means farm field, because this big box means the land of this region or this tribe. And then this smaller boxes, 4 of them in there, this quadrant means lotted family land. And that's how Chinese ancient, I guess, farmland lotting process shown in there. You're not going to have the whole piece of land, and the whole piece of land belong to the ruler of the country. You, as an economic unit of household, only own a small piece of land in there. Okay, reasonable, right? We can relate even from 2025. Now, this, even if it came from the farmland imagery, it actually overlapped with another Chinese character that's kind of a devil's head, meaning it's not a human head. It's a complicated big head. And it's not a human look. So there is this unknown and also menacing feature in it. You don't want to mess with it. It's non-human. So it could be a ghost, or it could be somebody from far away that's so different from you. Their behavior is unpredictable. You cannot even you kind of dehumanize them. It's not human, at least not the human you know. That's the second version by traditional Chinese. So the first version, how to understand that double hand spoon over there, um, it could be that double hand means that whatever is different is still two-handed. And I guess human hand, this double hand, means you share this hand physicality at least. And then spoon probably is also kind of a transformed way to say above that hand, the head feature somewhere over here looks a bit different from humans. Um, Remember, we have the mouth symbol to commonly refer to a human with eating or speaking function. It came from the pot, cookware with handles. But over here, we didn't use a handle to express that person. We use a ladle. It's the spoon from, like a scoop from the pot. It's not a pot itself. So it's something different, but kind of a correlated. The spoon and the pot often coexist, right? In the same like dining process. So it's also somebody who has hands also feeding from the spoons, even if it doesn't have the same kind of mouth or pot symbol over there. So it's something overlapping with your humanity, but some portion of it doesn't overlap. So you cannot completely figure out or predict that different entity. And different transform, again, is a sequence that's reversed. It's transformed into something different. That's the alienation. So in the context of either you and a friend, it's like your relationship transformed from friend zone into something different. Or you with yourself transformed into something different. You feel some change in you. And in this case, probably not going to like it because alienation probably is a hard process to deal with when you change, right? It's almost like the skin shedding moment. You outgrow your own self, become something else, and that something else you cannot fully understand yet, and that's a painful process, probably. And so this alienate can be in either situation, but Chinese show here just by this E character show that you share the hands, you just feed differently, we just express you differently. So there is that complexity, the caveat in there that you're not a complete stranger, but some part of it is hard to figure out. Just like me, first generation, I'm from Asia, meeting a different culture between Chinese, English. I'm not fully, either side. And there are some overlapping, like all universal humanity we shared, but definitely I have something distinctively mine and can be easily misunderstood. And that's the different part. And I'm making, the most out of it, being fun by being different. 理一化. Thank you for your time. See you another day.